Welcome back to another video, guys. This is a video that I'm making while I'm on my ban, while I'm on my 2-week ban. This is my last week. Today's Tuesday, excuse me. I should be off by Monday. Today is February the 20th, on Tuesday. But I wanted to make a comment about the All-Star game, about the NBA All-Star game. And I'm hearing a lot of people have extreme takes on it, people having their reactions because of it. But I think that everything happens in incremental stages, right? So on one end, you hear people like Stephen A. Smith talking about it needs to be revamped, they need to change it, or remove it completely from the game. I don't think they should do that. I think that's just that's a reaction. That's not an approach that's proactive and that's preventative in preventing what we just recently saw, which was pretty much not even a game. It was nothing. It was no competition. To have two teams almost score 400 points in a basketball game, it's laughable. I mean, there's a part in basketball that starts with the letter D. It's called defense. And true basketball cannot be embraced in its entirety if you are not playing any defense at all. I mean, you have to do something. We understand that you're not going to go out there and play like it's the finals. We understand that you're not going to go out there and play like it's the playoffs. Or perhaps you're not even going to play as hard as if it's a regular season game. But you have to put forth some type of effort. That's not a game. It's not an all-star game. The all-star game it's just an exhibition, but the exhibition still has to possess remnants of competition. It has to possess the aura of competition. It can't just be do whatever you want to do. That's not what basketball is. Basketball is 5-on-5, and the offense has the ball and the defense has to play defense. We didn't see that at all. Then on the other end, you hear people like Jason Whitlock saying that this is gonna destroy basketball forever. Those are two extremes from two men who do this for a living. Jason Whitlock makes commentary on his channel, Fearless, and we also know Stephen A. Smith has the First Take show, and he also has a personal podcast that he has, and I think that it's just a natural human response in order to get attention is to lean to the side of extremes, because it's easier to throw extremes at problems. You know, you heard the saying, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can save something. So I do think the NBA is salvageable. I believe that this incident that occurred is an eye opener to the direction in which the NBA is moving in. I believe that certain times we need to see the plummet or the downfall of a particular enterprise or a particular sport in order for us to respond appropriately. I don't think that responding in extremes is going to solve anything. The game is still a good game. It's still a game that involves skill, endurance, strength, a high level of eye-hand coordination. It requires a lot of balance and instinctive and a high degree of being instinctive on the basketball court. It's a game of high skill where you have men that are shooting the ball from distance with pressure on them, with a hand in their face, and they're draining threes. You have people who can jump out the gym. So it's a great sport. There are many facets to it. Speed, strength, agility. It requires the gamut of the human body to actually perform that sport in its optimal state. So I don't think that the game it's nothing wrong with the game. Now I do remember that they wanted to make the game a little bit more exciting, to make it more high scoring. And you also have to be very careful what you wish for, because in the past, especially in the 80s and early 90s, they allowed for hand checking. Now you can't even breathe on a guy. So a lot of the times people are upset at NBA players for not playing defense, but you can't play defense because the rules don't allow you to play defense. You have to be a robot to be able to play defense. What do I mean by that? You have to be able to perform unhuman abilities to play defense. There's no way, with the speed of players today, there's no way you can shuffle your feet and stay with anybody. It's impossible. It's impossible. I don't give a damn how defensively sound you are. Now, you do have a handful of players, probably a handful of players, probably less than that I would call good defenders. But even on their best day, the offense still has the upper hand. You cannot stay in front of anybody. So the hand checking rule that was extracted out of the game took away the ability to actually defend. Now, we understand that they say move your feet, but it's more than that. You have to be able to use your hands. You have to be able to use your feet. That should all be included in playing defense, in my personal opinion. Now, I don't mean holding a player, but you should be able to kind of put your hands on them and guide them a little bit. All right? And we see that in football today, where if you breathe on a wide receiver, it's a pass interference. I've seen quarterbacks intentionally say, look, I knew we weren't getting yards. So what I did, I just threw the ball up for grabs. I underthrew it. I knew my receiver was going to run back to the football. And so when my receiver was trying to make a play on the ball, the DB, the defensive back, not knowing where the ball is just running with the wide receiver that he's defending. So the wide receiver turns back for the ball, and then all of a sudden there's incidental contact before the ball is in the hands of the receiver, or before the receiver has the ability to catch the ball. When that occurs, then all of a sudden you have a flag that's thrown for what? Pass interference. So rules of the game robs the game of what it is. And that's why you see in football now, they're passing more. Remember, in the past, football used to be a combination of run and pass. And actually, the running game actually held a lot of weight. Today, the running game is not that important. As a matter of fact, running backs are very disposable. They have about a 4-year span of playing at their highest. And once they've played about 4 to 6 years, they're done. They're just replaceable, because you can always get in. You always get another running back. But what they're predicating a lot of their money on, and putting a lot of their money on and placing a lot of emphasis on, is on the offensive side of the ball when it comes down to the receivers and the quarterbacks, because the receivers have free play. The quarterbacks, you can't breathe on them either. If you accidentally just fall at their toe, it's a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct, or a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, or whatever they want to call it. All right, so I know I got off on a tangent there talking about football, but I wanted you guys to get the idea of how the rules of the game can actually make the game worse. And I think that the NBA did this to itself. And by changing the rules, you guys ended up implicitly or inadvertently taking away the concept of defense. And defense now is just all about blocking shots. It's not about changing people's shots. It's not about having people defend you and decreasing your shooting percentage. It's about block shots. So there's no defense. There's no way you can stay in front of people, and if you put your hand on them or even breathe on them, it's a foul. You can't even contest shots, because if you jump and you land in someone's landing space, it's a foul, because a couple of players got hurt landing and twisting their ankle. So they're doing that to kind of change that, mitigate that from occurring so much. We saw that happen to Kawhi Leonard a couple of years back when he shot a jump shot and then he landed on someone's ankle and twisted his ankle. So with that being said, the game is not lost completely. The All-Star game is a sore spot. It's a red flag for the NBA to wake up, to do something about their game. And I believe that if you allow players to play defense, they're going to be naturally inclined to play defense, even if it's an all-star game, because that's what they've been doing all year. But when you take away their power to play defense, they're not going to play defense in the all-star game. They're not even used to it. They're not used to getting down, in a defensive stance and actually playing defense, sitting in the chair, as a lot of sports pundits likes to say. So, yeah, but the game is not ruined. I just think that this is an opportunity for the game to respond appropriately and do something about the game. But it's not lost. Before something is completely lost, there has to be signs that are given. There has to be signs that are provided for you before you actually come to that conclusion that the game is totally lost. But it's not going in the right direction. I agree with Jason Whitlock in that regard, that it is moving in the wrong direction. And then the money in the NBA is so much, and it kind of kills the incentive to be great when a lot of these guys are getting endorsements before they win championships. They're getting shoe deals, they're getting their brands built, and that's what the game is about now. It's not even about coming in to the game to actually seek championships. I believe in the era of Jordan, before Jordan was Jordan, before he started branding and selling his shoes. I believe that he contributes to the game being ruined as well, because Michael Jordan approached the branding principle the correct way. He allowed his play on the basketball court to build his brand. There's an avenue, there's a vehicle that you have to take in order to get to your brand. And that vehicle is the sport, dominating your opposition and winning championships, and then your brand is built organically off of that. Now in current times, we have players that are just all about the brand. They come in thinking about their brand. They're not coming in thinking about winning championships. So there's no incentive to win championships. That's why you have guys who can smile after a loss. I remember watching games when I was younger, and players would be actually angry and pissed off when they lost. Watch the NBA today. They lose, they hug each other, switch jerseys, they're smiling, because it's not about competition, it's about money. It's about competition to the point where we're just playing a game. But the real competition is to see who can get to the bag first, who can get the big deal. So players are playing for contracts. And I'm not saying that players back then didn't play for contracts, but players, I believe, really sincerely play to be champions. I think that something came with calling yourself a champion. There was a certain level of respect that you garnered from your peers when you called yourself a champion. And there were many opportunities that would come after the fact, after you played, because of the championships that you won, because of the way you dominated on the basketball court. You would have other openings that would just occur organically because you dominated. People will offer you jobs. People will offer you maybe a sports talking show, or people may offer you a coaching gig. Things that, your transition from being an NBA player and transitioning into retirement life from the NBA, your next chapter has a much more feasible transition than it would be if you didn't dominate. So back then, being dominant was your key to success. But today, the money is being thrown at players so quickly that it kills the incentive to be great on the basketball court. So it's a backwards mentality. And I talked about this earlier when I was talking about Coach Prime about building brands. I said, people called me a hater for that, but I said, how can you come into a Power 5 conference trying to push a brand? How about you try dominating, be humble, and try winning games and winning bowl games, and go on a streak of consistent winning and consistent dominance? Then your brand is built organically from that. But I felt like Coach Prime was coming in and using his name as the brand and using Colorado football as an accentuator of his brand. You can't do that. That's an ass backwards concept that's actually going to lead to destruction if you think about it. For the short term, it looks good, but for the long haul, it doesn't look good at all. It does not look good at all. So with that being said, the NBA is not lost, but I didn't watch it. You see, for the past 3 to 4 years now, I have really started to get really turned off from the All-Star games. Now, I'll occasionally tune in to watch the dunking contest. I'll watch the three-point contest. But the game itself, the All-Star game, it used to be competitive, but now it's just, okay, what am I watching? It's unwatchable. I don't care about guys shooting from half court. I don't care about alley-oops. I mean, I want to see competition. You want to see somebody defending. You want to see somebody shooting a high degree of difficulty in terms of their shot. I don't want to see a bunch of open threes, guys jacking threes. That's not fun to watch. So when I saw that starting to happen, and every year it progressively got worse and worse, and this year was just the worst. I mean, a team scores over 200 points. That's insane. 50 points in a quarter. There's no defense being played. So to me, this should be an eye-opener for Commissioner Silver. This should be an eye-opener to the whole basketball world, to know that, yeah, the game is being destroyed slowly, but we can recoup. The game can recoup. And this eyesore that we just witnessed in the All-Star game should be something that should put us back on track to say, hey, let's fix some things. And I'm not an NBA executive or anything like that, but there should be certain things. They should go back to the drawing table. It's not about even increasing the incentive. It's I don't know, make a deal where if both teams, if I don't know, because throwing money at the problem is not always the cure. But I know what some people may say. Oh, just give them more money to the winners, but they don't care to play. They don't care about the extra $200K that you give them. You're gonna have to give them a large lump sum, and what we have to like bribe players to play in an all-star game, an exhibition game. I mean, you just making the all-star game is the accolade. That well, to me, that should be the reward. That should be the end. That, you know, there's a means to every end. Like, you're playing hard during the first half of the season to be acknowledged by your peers and voters to make it into the all-star game. And I thought back then there was a badge of pride that you kind of wore on your chest to say, hey, you know, I'm an all-star. You know, I got picked. There are a lot of players in the NBA, but there was a few men that were selected to have this charted position as being an all-star, and I was one of them. Whether you're a starter or whether you are a reserve, I thought that was enough, but that's not enough anymore. You know, so I don't know what the NBA can do about that, and that's above my personal pay grade. I mean, I have some suggestions that I can throw out there, but I don't think that those suggestions are going to be, you know, in the long term. It's not going to be a long-term solution. It may be a short-term solution, and throwing money at it, I don't believe is good. It's short-term, because then we're enabling the players to I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. It's tough. Then again, you know, Stephen A's like, do away with the All-Star game, but I don't want to do away with it. I believe that there's something that could be done to make the players compete, but maybe out of the goodwill of their hearts, maybe they just will. Maybe after this year of hearing all of the negativity that's being spoken of in regards to the NBA All-Star game, maybe next year they'll do a little better, because that's ridiculous. That's nonsense. And even though the crowd may go ooh and ah, okay, that's great, but in the heart or in the essence of every human being that knows what basketball is about, especially the basketball purist like myself, I hate watching that. I don't mind a guy like getting a wide open three off of a point guard penetrating, drawing the defense to kind of double him to stop him from penetrating, then the point guard kicks it to the open player that the defender just left. I can understand getting an open three like that, but just to walk into an open three like it's a shoot around and to just see that all up and down the court, that's not, no one wants to watch that. No one wants to watch that. So I don't think it's dead. It's salvageable, but we should take this as a lesson. The NBA should take it as a lesson learned and use this as an opportunity to get better. That's all they can do. They can't look back. They can just look forward and just make sure that next year's All-Star game does not repeat this same travesty of having two teams score almost 400 points in an All-Star game. That is ridiculous. You know how that means there was no defense being played. Guys were just probably just standing around like statues. Your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. It's laughable. There's supposed to be a degree of competition, folks, and we did not see that at all. All right, thank you guys for listening. This is gonna seem like an old story by the time I post it, because I'm on ban. I can't post anything right now because according to YouTube, I violated their medical policy. So I've been banned for 2 weeks. Yeah, it's like my third strike. First they warned me. They said, don't do it again. If you do it again, we'll ban you for a week. Then I did it again. But I'm not doing it intentionally. Sometimes when I'm talking about certain things, especially when I'm talking about topics that are not sports related, that are not related to Coach Prime. If I'm talking about anything that's related to the medical industry, a lot of the times I don't have a script in front of me, so I'm just speaking. I'm just talking. The things that come out of my heart just comes out of my mind. I spew them forth. So I'm not being calculated, and I think I need to do a better job with that, because it seems like YouTube has this automated, this AI, this artificial intelligence little robot thingy that tracks your words. And so if you say certain buzzwords, it triggers the algorithm, and the algorithm starts to look at you a little bit more. And I'm not a person with a million followers. I'm relatively a nobody on YouTube, but obviously I'm saying something that's triggering the algorithm. So when I said whatever I said, which I'm not going to repeat, because if I repeat it on here, I'll be banned again. So whatever I said, it triggered the algorithm, and they gave me another warning. which was the second one. And I accidentally did it again, and they gave me a third warning. So the third warning entails me being banned for 2 weeks, because the second warning I got was 1 week. The first one was just a strike. So I've had 3 strikes totally. And the first strike counts as a warning. The second one, I was gone for 1 week. The third one, I'm gone for 2 weeks. And they gave me a message telling me that if I do it again, I'm going to be banned like permanently. I'll never be able to make content on YouTube. So I have to be very careful. So that's your free speech, America. That's what they do. So I have to be very careful in what I say. And it's just unfortunate that you can't really speak from your heart nowadays. You have to be very calculated and careful. And what I'm saying isn't relatively dangerous. I'm not promoting murder. I'm not promoting anybody to get killed. I'm not doing anything illegal. It's just, I just can't speak out. I can't speak against certain things. That makes me an evil person that needs to be taken off of the internet. Well, on the internet, I see a bunch of crazy things that are being allowed to be played on YouTube, on TikTok, and on YouTube Shorts, Instagram, Reels, the whole nine. You see it all. See a bunch of crazy things, but they'll allow that. But if you speak out on anything that goes against the establishment, no. We gotta censor you. So anyway, that's my spiel. The NBA is still alive. It's not dead. It's on life support right now. Because after that All-Star game, it shows you where the heart of the players is at. The heart of the players is not about championships. They're just playing for money. And it's okay if that's what you want to do. But then if you have the majority of the players playing for money, then it kills the drive to be a champion. It kills the drive of competition, because at the end of the day, who cares if I make the playoffs? I'm fine. As long as I get my numbers and I get my contract, I'm fine. The days where Jordan played, even before Jordan played, I don't know, I felt like there was a higher intensity. There was a higher intensity level that came with the game back then. I don't see that anymore. I just see a bunch of guys just playing for the bag, and they're okay with not putting out a good product as long as they get paid, because we've taught them it's our fault. It's society's fault. We've taught them that it's about branding. It's about money. It's not about being successful in your craft to be greater, because you're getting paid still. It's not like you're paying for free. You're playing for free. You're still getting paid. It's just that these players are building brands, and they're copywriting certain things, and they're being, they're driving their own bus right now. So it's not about team. It's more of an individual, even though it's a team sport, but it carries with it an individual mantra within the individual player that oversees and supersedes the team concept. And that's what you see happening. So you have a bunch of individuals put together, compressed together on one court for an all-star game. You're going to have individualism play its role. You're going to see it rear its ugly head. So what you saw happening was pretty much guys saying, I don't give a damn about the game right now. I'm going to just shoot and do whatever I need to do. I don't even want to be here. Whatever incentive that they have, I don't care about that. I don't want to be here. It's just an all-star game. I just want to get paid. So that's why earlier I said maybe throwing more money at the winners, but I think they already do that. Correct me if I'm wrong on the comments, guys. I don't know if the winner of the NBA All-Star game gets more money, or I don't know what incentive is tied to that right now. But whatever incentives that they have in place, perhaps they need to increase the incentive, make it a little bit more intense to have players buy in. But it's sad that you have to do that, but unfortunately that's the kind of world we live in. All right, thank you guys for listening. I'll be making videos. By the time I come off of this ban, I should have several videos that I post. So I'm still making content. I just can't post them right now. All right, thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for staying subscribed, even though I haven't put out content in about a week and a half. I still have the same subscriber numbers that I had before. So I thank you guys for staying loyal to a degree. Maybe you guys are not even really loyal. Maybe you forgot that I even had a channel. But I'm glad that I didn't have people just, a mass amount of people just unsubscribing, like, okay, this guy's not putting out content anymore. But I still am. I'm just on a ban. I just have to be more careful. All right, thank you guys for watching. All right, till next time. All right, bye.